Hello and welcome to Sound Bites. I'm Holly Whitfield, Digital Director at the Daily Memphian. Today I'm here with Stacey Greenberg. She's the Editor-in-Chief of Edible Memphis, and she's back again for the second time this season.
Woo!
Yay! This is going to be a really fun and interesting conversation, for real. So this week we're talking about a recent crazy food adventure that Stacey went on. We're also going to talk about, I'm calling it classic Memphis restaurants, maybe old school, maybe restaurants you wouldn't know about unless you went to a website. I'm not sure. But that's what we're going to talk about. Welcome.
I'm so happy to be back.
Thank you. So if you don't know, Soundbites is the Daily Memphian's weekly food, drink, and dining podcast. Tune in on WYXR Radio every Thursday at 11 a.m. Listen wherever you get your podcasts. I'm stuck with Apple Podcasts. If you've got a better app, please let me know. But also Spotify. You can also listen directly at dailymemphian.com and read the little story that goes along with each podcast episode. If you are listening on WYXR right now, up next you can hear The Sidebar. It's our other podcast at the Daily Memphian with our CEO, Eric Barnes, Arts and Culture. So stay tuned for that. Well, let's get started with Stacey. Thanks again for being here. You introduced yourself and went into your background as the Dining with Monkeys blogger, commercial appeal columns, freelance food writing, and your role now for 7 years or so?
Yes.
Is that right?
7 years.
With Edible Memphis. Back in episode 9 of this season, season 8. So we're just going to get right into it.
Okay.
Because you've already introduced yourself. I know you'll love that. Stacey has a weekly email she sends out to try to stem the tide of texts that she gets from people asking where should they eat. I don't know if it's working.
I think it's working.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I think it's working.
So where have you talked about lately or in the recent past on the email? Not that you want to give it all away. People should go and subscribe to Where Should I Eat by Stacey Greenberg, but...
So this week, I always send it out on Monday around 11 o'clock. And this week, everyone needs to go to the original Huey's on Madison and eat some onion rings, okay?
Yes.
We interviewed Kathy Neal, who is the onion ring queen, who has made like 3.5 million onion rings in her 38-year career at Huey's.
God.
And actually, when we met her, she had never actually eaten one. And so we got a little video of her trying an onion ring for the first time. And she gave us some tips on making the perfect onion ring. But honestly, I mean, just go eat some. Like, they're the best.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
So did you ask her why she hadn't tried one? This was also a story on Edible Memphis, which is great. Edible Memphis always has really fun stories. But, like, did you ask her?
I don't know if we ever really got clarity on that. But she has now tasted one. But apparently,
she gave a thumbs up.
It's in the wrist. You don't have to, the recipe predates her, so it's not her recipe. So she's following the recipe and she can look at it. Alex Boggs did tell us that she is like super picky about her onions and that she has probably sent back more onions than she has kept. So they use like the red onion or purple onion. And so she's very particular about her onions. And so it's all on the wrist.
That's amazing. Alex Boggs, also a recent guest on this podcast. Maybe we'll get
Miss Kathy.
Miss Kathy, the onion ring queen.
And you can put her in the hot seat.
I feel like she's got enough heat going on frying those onions. They are delicious, and I do wish they would sell them like one by one, but I know they won't. So it's fine. Anywhere else that you have given a shout out to on your email?
So I think the Daily Memphian did a story on this crew as well, but out in Cordova, where it seems like so many interesting things are happening.
It's true.
It's true. So there's 2 Venezuelan families, a brother and sister and a husband and wife, who have opened 2 businesses under one roof. One is sweets and coffee, and the other is hot dogs and hamburgers and candy. Wee Wees and O Dessert.
Yeah.
So
Wee Wees and O Desserts.
So this feels like, it's summertime. You could just knock it all out. Take the kids for dinner and then get dessert, or you could just go have a coffee while the kids are at camp. But very sweet people, and I just love that they combine forces like that. And Who doesn't want to eat like an amazing Venezuelan hot dog?
I definitely do. I don't know if I've talked about this before, but years ago I had a professor from Colombia in South America, and she was my Spanish professor. Banya Barraza is her name. She's still at the University of Memphis. I actually looked her up the other day because she ended up living next door to me for a time. Memphis. And it was so weird, but she invited me over and like a friend or two of mine to come have completas.
Okay.
With her, which is just a hot dog with a bunch of stuff on it.
It sounds so nice, though.
It was so nice, like completas. But yeah, everybody wants a South American hot dog, so
yeah,
we'll have to try it out.
Went to Bar Lemona, and it's in the old Inkwell spot, and they really breathed some new life into it. It looks good. Caleb Sweezy did a lot of the woodwork. And they have a lot of familiar faces in there, and they're doing some very, like, well-crafted drinks. And there's a very small menu of bites. And I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have a drink in particular that you liked? If you don't, that's okay. Because I was actually talking about this with someone earlier today. There was one with strawberry and mezcal and dill, I think. Or fennel. It was fennel. Fennel. Fennel and strawberry mezcal. I don't like mezcal drinks.
But you like this one.
But I liked this one.
Yeah?
I don't know what it's called. They all have
right
silly names.
I've got a picture of the menu somewhere. I had something with champagne, and then I got the ruffles and the dip from Hard Times Deli, and you could add caviar to it, which we didn't do. And, like, it was just simple, but, like, it was a lovely little salty snack to go with my champagne drink. And
was it champagne with pineapple amaro? Was it that one?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I tried that one too.
Sorry, Josh, we don't remember the names.
It's okay. That's okay.
But it looks beautiful. It's a great addition to the Edge District. I'm excited about what's going on there, so everyone should go give it a try. Lastly, I would just say I went back to Bao Tuan, which that's another one that's hard to pronounce for different reasons. But I went back there for dinner on Friday, and I was so pleased with how they have really trained their staff up. And they were just,
since they're opening.
Yeah. The first week I thought it was a little rocky, but now, the food was always good, but now, like, the staff is at that fine dining level, and you feel like you're really having the full experience there. And everything we ate was delicious, and our server was amazing. She had even gone, like, online to watch videos to work on our pronunciation of the dishes, and, like, she knew everything. And I was like,
that's amazing.
Yes, I was super, super impressed. I can't wait to go back. And they are now doing brunch too. So
that's right. So that is the Vietnamese restaurant in Crosstown Concourse Building.
Yes.
Is there one dish that
I really like that papaya salad? It's just like super fresh.
I'm writing it down.
And it hits all. It's just like sweet, and it's got probably, I guess, fish sauce in there. I don't know, but it's crunchy, delicious, healthy. Just yum.
I feel like this is slightly related. Fresh fruit and all that. You were telling me before we started rolling, but you recently did a Mexico City trip.
Yes.
What a trendy destination. It really is. Like, Mexico City is like a big trendy destination. I'm assuming you ate some pretty good stuff while you were there.
Yes. It is true. Mexico it's trending, that
doesn't mean it's bad.
But I also, it was, I know that I like Mexican food, and, like, you take me anywhere, I'm going to want to eat Mexican food, but it was so eye-opening to go to Mexico City and, first of all, just see what a huge city it is and all the options and, like, Michelin star, street food, everything in between. It was incredible. Even just beyond Mexican food, we had great Italian food, we had Thai food.
Wow.
It's a city of 25 million people. It was just...
I can't imagine that.
It was truly eye-opening. Traffic was a little crazy. We did, like, go to a restaurant in rush hour traffic on a Friday night, and I hope to never do that again. But we survived. We were not driving when we had a Uber driver. But no, Mexico City was truly eye-opening. My son told me, and I saw what he was talking about, like, like in the movies when they go to Mexico, it's suddenly like they put a dusty filter on everything, and you see pictures, and we talk about Mexico like it's a third world country, but, like, Mexico City is extremely metropolitan.
Yes.
They have one street that's like Rodeo Drive with, like, Dolce and Gabbana and Rolex, and, it is It's crazy.
It's an international place. I mean, so the internet tells me now that New York City has like less than 9 million people.
Okay.
So Mexico City.
25 million is what I was told. Yeah. So, almost 3 times the size of New York City. And yes, we ate so many good things. But honestly, despite all the good things we ate, what I'm missing most is the fresh fruit. There was this one guy around the corner who had a beautiful display of fruit every morning, and every single day I went out to visit him and get a cup of fruit, and he would either put salt or chili or lime or all 3. And with my terrible Spanish, I was somehow able to purchase fruit every day, and on the last day I finally got him to smile. And
personal goal met.
He was a very stoic fruit vendor, and I finally broke through and got him to smile. So yeah, that was great. I really missed the fruit, and I think I was telling you I'm gonna hit Get Well over the weekend and see if I can't find a fruit vendor out there because I need more fruit.
I love that. The Very Stoic Fruit Vendor is going to be the name of my Great American Novel, North American novel. We'll make it count. Any other meals that you had there that you want to tell us about?
So we went to Pujol, which is a Michelin. Pujol.
Okay.
Pujol. And you would think that you don't pronounce that J, but I was told that you do.
Sure.
So Pujol. And the chef was on chef's table, I believe. And our friends that we went with had been there 2 or 3 times before. And so we sat at the bar and did the taco tasting, which really only involved one taco. It was more like a burrito and tostada, but it was like a small bites tasting at the bar. And it was incredible. Everything had seafood in it, but just Michelin star service. I mean, it was... Yeah. There was this big table next to us, all the waiters, 7 waiters walk out and individually serve everyone. It was like a dance. They all went down the same motion.
Yeah.
And
a little ballet of service.
It was a ballet of service. And then our dessert, they walked us down to the bar to have dessert so you could sit there as long as you wanted. And it was just everywhere in Mexico, everything is just so green. I mean, you're in the tropics, but they're really good about bringing the outside in. Everything had patios and plants, and it was just... fabulous.
It sounds amazing. How long were you there?
We were only there 5 days. I mean, really just scratching the surface there. Yeah. I am definitely I want to go every other year. I want to brush up on my Spanish. I've never felt more embarrassed of my Spanish. I took it in high school, but definitely need to brush up on that. But it was fantastic. I highly recommend it.
I think the fact that you're already thinking about when you want to return is really the mark of a fantastic destination to use.
And it's
tourism term.
It's really only it was an hour and a half to Houston and then another hour and a half, 2 hours there. You don't change time zones.
That's nothing, man.
It's nothing.
That's easy.
Yeah. 10 out of 10, Mexico City. Especially if you have friends who speak Spanish and they go with you.
Yes. Okay. So here we go. We're hitting the middle of our journey today. You're listening to Sound Bites. It is the Daily Memphians food, drink, dining podcast with me, your host, Holly Whitfield. Today we're talking with Edible Memphis editor Stacey Greenberg about her trip to Mexico City, is what we just talked about. In a few moments, we're going to talk about, I'm just going to say classic because we couldn't come up with a better word, but whatever you want to call it, old school, been around for a certain amount of time. The places that don't have a grass wall when you go in to take a picture. Places
Please
that don't
stop
have,
the grass walls. No more grass walls.
No more grass walls. No more neon signs that say things like, forget about your responsibilities and give us money. I mean, whatever they say. That actually would be funny.
Eat pretty.
Eat pretty. Take a pic. It'll last longer or whatever they say. So we're going to talk about the places that aren't that. If you are listening right now on WYXR, please keep listening for the Sidebar Arts and Culture podcast from Daily Memphian CEO Eric Barnes right after this. And if you're listening through your podcast app, whatever that may be, please subscribe and then you won't miss any episodes because that would be sad. We do work hard on these. And by we, I mean Natalie Van Gundy, our podcast producer, works very hard on making us sound cool on our shows. And, go ahead and subscribe, and then you won't miss them. Okay, so for the last half of this, I'm going to set it up quickly, but 2 things happened that made me think about this. And I thank you for working through it with me. The first thing is that I went to my hair salon a couple of weeks ago. I was getting my hair done, which I never got my hair done for like my whole life until like 3 years ago. And now I do. And y'all, it takes like 4 hours. Like, it's so long, but it's great. And I will not name the salon, but it's great. I highly recommend it. Ask me later. But the girls in there who are not that much younger than me. I mean, they're younger than me, but they're not that much younger. They're probably like solidly like around age 30. And I'm older than that.
Okay, but this hair salon is in East Memphis.
It's in East Memphis.
Okay, I think that's important.
I know it's important. But I also feel like, I'll just get to it. So they were talking and they're like, oh, there's this place downtown in downtown Memphis. They were all like, ooh, I don't ever go downtown. Da, da, da. Fine. But they're like, oh, the only thing they have on their food menu is a burger. And it's like a really good burger. And it's like a weird old place. And it's like weird. And they have pool tables and stuff. And I was like, Ernestine Hazel's? And I felt real hipster in that moment because I hate to be like, I knew about this before it was cool, but I didn't though. Like, I came to the knowledge of this when I moved to Memphis 20 years ago. And it's like the next generation was just not hearing. It blew my mind.
Yeah.
Of all the places they should know about Ernestine Hazel's. And the second thing that happened is that Josh Carlucci, who has been a guest on the podcast several times, has written more than 100 $10, $15 deals for the Daily Memphian, and is, as you said, Stacey, very plugged in, wrote a story recently about Alex's Tavern and their burger.
Yes.
Which is fine, but he did admit, which is also totally fine, that he like had not heard about it.
Right. I told him about it at our farewell lunch.
Yes.
He went to lunch with me and Chip Chocolate. He's one of our photographers. And Chip had recently just had the burger. Now, Chip had been there, but he'd never had the burger. And
He's too busy taking pictures.
Right. And then Josh's ears perked up like, what? How much is it? You know, we're like, it's $11. But, and so he went and tried it, which I was very gratified that he went to try it. But yeah, he had never heard of it. And literally had like 2 days left in the city. He was moving, but he was like, okay, here's one more spot I can hit. But yeah, he needed to have lunch with some old timers to know about Alex's, because as a youngster, he had never heard of it.
As a youngster. Okay, what is happening? Why don't people know about these places? I have a theory, but like, I just feel like there's some other places as well, like, that people are not quite getting.
Well, I see this, and I feel like with Edible Memphis on Instagram, my audience always wants to know what is new, what is new, what is new.
Yeah.
And so these old school places, they're just not like sexy sometimes, you know. It's like, oh, we know about those, whatever. And occasionally we will hit, like you talk about an old school place, and then people will be like, oh yeah, I love it, I love it, I love it. I mean, Huey's the Onion Ring Queen, we had a little bit of that. But yeah, people are very tuned in. They want to go to the new and exciting. They want to be the first to post, first to talk about it.
Yeah.
Welcome to my world. But yes, old school has sort of lost a little bit of charm with the newer generation, I think.
But I feel like maybe if they did know, like they don't know what they're missing. I don't know.
Or maybe if they know they're not telling their friends, they want to keep it a secret, which is...
Ooh, I like that theory too.
I don't know.
I felt so ancient when I said that. I'm like, maybe they don't know what they don't know. Like, okay, but I thought we could mention some.
Yes,
I thought we could just tell the people.
Yes.
Briefly, my theory is sort of like, when I came to Memphis 20 years ago, I looked at websites and books, maybe, and magazines, and like actual websites on the internet, and not just social media feeds, to figure out like, oh, these are the best restaurants, or these are the must-dos, must-eats.
Yes.
And so that's how I basically knew about this other stuff. And the youth, they aren't doing it. So...
Well, for the record, a lot of these places predate the internet.
Right. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it wasn't like I discovered them. Like, I was coming into them like, oh, they're 40 years in, you know? Like, I need to go and check this off my list. Okay, so we mentioned Alex's Tavern.
Yes. Alex's is around the corner from my house.
Yeah.
My husband...
You love it.
My husband must eat Alex's burger like at least once every other week, if not more.
Uh-huh. He's like Nosferatu. He has to like return to eat the burger or something. Like he'll lose his powers.
Right. But then also, I mean, like the wings, the ribs, like there's some serious decision making there. But one thing I have noticed about Alex's that I want to point out is back in the day, Alex's was open all night. This is where you went after wherever it was you're going. You would roll in it midnight or 1 or 2 or 3. These days, Alex's does not stay open all night. And this is like post-pandemic. The guy, Hot Body, who used to work all night is no longer working there. And
That's right.
I don't think he's ever found anyone who wants to. So they'll stay open if people are there. But if you go like midnight or 1, there's a good chance that it's not going to be open.
Hot Body is a person's legal name. I played wiffle ball with him.
Okay.
He's real. Hot
We'll
Body.
see if he'll come back. But I'll never be there in the middle of the night. I like to go like literally like...
I've never been in the afternoon, and I really want to go.
I like to go like 5, 6, 7 before whatever crowd that's coming comes. You like go in, talk to Rocky, talk to Miss E, get our food, and then as people start filling up, then we hightail it home.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go after this. It'll be perfect. We talked about Ernestine Hazel's downtown divish bar, storied history, been there a long time. They have a bartender upstairs,
Mr. Nate
Barnes.
Mr. Nate, yeah.
Is that his last name?
Yeah, Barnes is right.
Yeah.
We did a story on him a few years ago. Mm-hmm. Super sweet guy. I hear that he maybe not doing so well these days. So hopefully,
some bad health. Yeah.
Hopefully he'll be back behind the bar soon.
But it's a place people should go, and that is true. What the salon gals was saying, like. They only have the Soul Burger, and it's because they don't need anything else, because it's really good.
And the Soul Burger has changed a little with the owners, but the last one I had tasted just fine.
Just fine. Also downtown, I'll throw in Green Beetle.
Okay.
Just like your classic, like, do you need a sandwich? Do you need a po' boy? You need some lunch downtown. I don't know how many people are working downtown that need that lunch, but that's happening. I feel like you know more about this one than me. Mortimer's is like the top of this type of restaurant list.
Yeah, Mortimer's is the Berkeley Country Club informally.
Ooh.
And they do quite a business. I think Tuesday is like 50-cent oyster night.
That's right.
Mark, who is the bartender there, has been there like 30 years. He doesn't look a day over 30. He's a very fit guy, and he's holding down the bar. They also have that Big Star room, which is pretty cool.
That is cool.
So Chris Bell, who was in Big Star, his dad owned it. Now his sister runs it. So there's like that Big Star connection, and they have that little room, which is cool. At Christmas, they decorate really nice for Christmas, and they have a little fireplace in there. It's such a great place to go on a cold winter's night. They also, I think they have a little outside area, so maybe not as much fun in the summer, but cold winter's night, it's a good spot.
I had trout amandine.
Okay.
Saying that right there. I don't know what possessed me to order that there, but I did, and it was good.
Yeah. I think the food's solid. I don't go there for the food. I go more for the experience, but I think the food is fine.
That's solid. Good to point out. Yeah. I feel like there was a baked potato involved, which I can't say anything bad about a baked potato. Mortimer's is great. So Pete and Sam's.
Okay. A couple months ago, I think, my husband and I and our friend Tim went to the bar at Pete and Sam's on a Sunday night.
Okay.
It was standing room only.
This is like the little bar room.
Yes, the new bar, which when they redid it however many years ago, they redid the bar, and it had its own private entrance. You could just kind of come in and slide in there. And a friend of mine calls it the Regal Beagle, which I don't know if this reference is lost on you. You might be too young.
Help me.
Three's Company.
Okay.
Way back in the 70s, they had this bar called the Regal Beagle. And so, showing my age here, this is why she got a Q-tip to come talk about the classics. But anyway, so the Regal Beagle feel. But it was full on a Sunday night. I saw lots of people I knew.
That's amazing.
Everybody was eating. I got the fried chicken for the first time. I thought the fried chicken was only on Sunday, which is why I went on Sunday. But apparently,
now they have it all the time.
Yeah, so thumbs up on the fried chicken. And I'm sorry, but like a side pizza, this is what dreams are made of. The fact that pizza is a side at Pete and Sam's forever, like,
that's what
in my heart. Yeah.
That's what I was going to bring up. Like when we did our pizza journey, Chris Harrington and Josh and I did like a pizza tour of Memphis. It was pretty extensive, and I hadn't been to Pete and Sam's in a long time, and I hadn't been to Coletta's in a long time. That's another one that fits in this category. But I went to both and had pizza, and we had, honestly, the like spinach pizza situation at Pete and Sam's. It's just, they're like cream spinach, but they put it on the pizza.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
That way you're kind of getting 2 sides in one. You're
really
getting your
are.
spinach and your pizza.
We're maximizing sides for Pete and Sam's. So, but after I had that dinner that night and we had barbecue chicken, which I can totally, it's not my favorite like barbecue chicken pizza on the planet, but I can taste exactly like how people who grew up eating that would find it to be like a very comforting, nostalgic taste. It's kind of like its own thing.
Yeah.
Like, yes, it is technically a barbecue pizza, but I said chicken. It's pork. It's pork on there.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's pork.
Okay.
Apologies. But I could definitely tell how people would.
Are we still at Pete and Sam's or we're at Coletta's?
We're at Pete and Sam's.
Okay. Because Coletta's is where the barbecue pizza.
Well, let's go to that then.
That is where you get your
Coletta's
barbecue
is the next one we're going to talk
Yes.
about. We're totally switching.
So I go to Coletta's every year on Valentine's Day. My husband and I go and we sit at the bar.
At South Parkway in the
South
Grotto.
Parkway. Yes, in the Grotto. It is because they do heart-shaped pizzas on Valentine's Day.
That's right.
And it is always very festive in the bar. The bartenders there,
They're having a good time?
they're entertainers, I would say. But yeah, it's a very, and you can tell it's all regulars. And they're all there with their Long Island iced teas and their
Oh, my.
pizzas and
Yes.
the wings and whatever. And we always just go and they always make room for us, either at one of the little tables or at the bar. And we get a heart-shaped pizza and we get a pitcher of beer and we have a little Italian salad and it's the best.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, you got to sit in the bar. Don't be afraid. Everyone is so nice in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not sit in the bar, and I regretted it that last time because, I mean, the dining room was totally great and fine. There was lots of Elvis memorabilia. It was fun. But then, like, I poked my head into the...
Were you jealous that you weren't in there? You felt like you should have been in there. Yeah. It's the place to be. Place to be.
All right. Well, noted. Maybe I'll see you there next Valentine's Day.
Oh, yeah. Now I'm in trouble. I've given away the secret.
It's okay. If you're listening, don't tell anybody. Talked about several of these. What else is on your list? I have a couple more, but
I have the half shell on my list, which I hadn't been to in a super long time. But we went. My husband and I were on a little East Memphis tour with our friends who live out there, and we popped into the half shell, and I was like, okay. And again, there they have bartenders that you can tell have been there for decades, and they're running the show. And I felt like for a random Saturday at 3 or 4 in the afternoon, there were a lot of people in there.
Yeah.
I felt like the Memphis community was reflected in the people eating there, and it was
always a good
great.
feeling.
Yes, it was great. And I don't think we ate anything. We just had a few beers, but they were cold, and like the bartenders had some jokes, and they were friendly, and it was very convivial. So
if you don't want to sit at the bar, you can sit in one of their little booths in the bar area, which they have like little thatched.
Yes.
It's like very kind of like tropical, like we're going to get some fried seafood, little huts.
Yes, it's tropical yet also, it's like New Orleans, like Gulf, I guess. Yes, right?
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Yeah.
My boyfriend and I went on plenty of dates actually there when he lived way out in East Memphis.
Okay, yeah, our friends were hyping it up. I'm like, all right, let's go. Yeah.
They have like a painting of a crawfish playing a concertina, which is not an accordion. It's like an accordion, but they do have that painting there. So
nice.
Fun facts. What else you got?
I've got Dino's now.
Dino's is such a good one.
The best kept secret in Midtown used to be Dino's Breakfast, which was another victim of the pandemic. Please, Mario, bring back breakfast.
All you need to do is sit outside with a sign and protest it.
You're right.
And then they'll bring it back.
You're right. I'm going to do that.
This happened at Barksdale's. This is a Barksdale's reference. If you're reading the story on dailymemphian.com, click on the link. I'll help you out. But yes, Dino's.
So they do a plate lunch every day. They obviously have, Italian stuff, whatever, but they have a plate lunch, and I've gone for lunch a few times, and this is where you see like the Midtown retiree old timers talking about their doctor's visits and their whatever. And it's
probably get a good doctor rec over there.
I mean, it makes me,
I'm not joking.
It makes me feel young to go there for lunch, so I like it. But also they have a great dinner, all you can eat spaghetti, all that, bring in your own wine.
What day is that spaghetti?
I think it's Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
and then the last place on my list, I had Wild Bill's. We did a pretty in-depth story on them a couple years ago, but I just recently learned, I ran into Tad Pearson, who is like American Dream Safari, has his finger on the pulse of everything juke joint related. He was down in Clarksdale for, I guess, the Sinners premiere or whatever, and he said he was driving down the street and he saw a sign that said Wild Bill's, and he was like, and turned around, and it's Wild Bill's #2. So he called Manny immediately, and Manny verified, yes, A friend of his is opening up Wild Bill's #2 in Clarksdale. So
interesting.
Yes.
Because in that vicinity, maybe not exactly in Clarksdale, they had a juke joint for a long time, the Po Monkeys. Mm-hmm. That's been closed now for like a decade.
Yeah, well, Po Monkeys is actually on the way to Cleveland.
Okay,
it wasn't in Clarksdale proper, but Ground Zero has closed, and then there was another one that recently burned down. So it is good that there's another place coming in. Yes.
The other ones I had on my list, I mean, I did have Arcade downtown. I think a lot of people do know about that.
It is the oldest restaurant in Memphis, right?
Yes.
Or they might be fighting with Coletta's for that
Let
title.
them fight. It's good for them. Leonard's Barbecue is one that I was thinking about.
Yes.
And then they're closed. It was a pandemic thing, but Little Tea Shop was another one that I had on my list. This doesn't really include like all of the soul food restaurants like Four Way and stuff, but maybe that's another podcast. You'll just have to come back on. But yeah, Little Tea Shop, pour one out for that. Totally understand why they didn't come back from the pandemic. People are allowed to retire. So, well, there wasn't, as far as I know, another reason why they didn't. So there you go. They had the corn sticks. There's probably more.
Yeah,
so
I'm sure we missed something. There has to be.
Email me, leave a comment, be nice, be mean, whatever. It's fine.
Well, I think we could say this is not old school, but Kokoza just opened their second location out east, and if it's anything like the one downtown, they drum up that feel of an old school joint, and so I'm very excited to go out and see the new one. I love the old one, which is really it's not even really that old, but like it that's sort of like
they make it feel like that.
Yeah, instant classic. So maybe start there, and then you can start your journey into the other OGs.
The other OGs. OGs is another good way to describe this.
Actually, Brooklyn Bridge.
They're
coming up on 40 years in business.
Natalie loves Brooklyn Bridge.
Talking about like red sauce joints and pizza places. Yeah, Brooklyn Bridge, 40 years. Another one. See, out east, they have cool stuff out east.
They do.
No shade, because we just said Cordova has a lot of interesting things happening out in Cordova. Mm-hmm. So, yes.
Brooklyn Bridge also has a hallway with a lot of doors. Like, so many doors. Like, little doors, big doors, doors up high, doors down low. I was like, this is amazing. Am I in a David Lynch film? What's going on? Maybe we'll talk about Brooklyn Bridge on a different podcast. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your wisdom and your recommendations, Stacey.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Be sure to follow her on the internet. And go to Edible Memphis and
sign up for my email.
Precisely.
On ediblememphis.com.
There you go. Tune in to WYXR Radio every Thursday at 11 for more Soundbites episodes. Listen wherever you get your podcast, whenever you want. iTunes, Spotify. We also have these streaming every single week at dailymemphian.com, along with a little story that's not too long. Don't worry. It's not too many words. And we'll have links to all the things we talked about. Thank you again, Stacey. That's it.
Thank you.